right, thanks for joining. For those of you who were here for the previous session, this sort of builds upon that. I'll be presenting some various use cases on how to use external services like OpenAlex and ROR to improve metadata quality in Pure. So the topics for this presentation is, a brief introduction to some of the common metadata challenges we have in Pure and how we can solve these using ROR, how we can solve them using OpenAlex, a bit on how to use AI in terms of improving metadata in Pure, and then we will finish up with a wrap up and a few takeaways. So, the typical metadata challenges in Pure. We like to say that we have great data in Pure, and I believe we do, but let's be honest, we know we also have some places where it's not 100% correct, or we have some records that are missing. This affects the reliability of the data, things like missing DOIs, missing ORCIDs, or even missing publications, and that's not nice. We want to have everything in Pure right. Another issue is duplicate entries, and an old classic is external organizations. We have a lot of duplicates, which create redundancy and makes it hard to do analysis on collaboration. And it's simply an ongoing challenge we struggle to maintain. So we wanted to do something to try to improve the quality here. So the objectives for us has been to focus on identifying some of these gaps, assessing the impact of this gap, and then build something which can help us to handle this challenge and automate it whenever possible. We believe that a lot of these external services can actually help us a lot in terms of improving data quality in Pure. Services like ROR, OpenAlex, ORCID, and also others can be a way to enrich what we have and help close some of these gaps. This is also due to, I believe, there is a current limitation in the tools we have in Pure today. I mean, they're fine for the occasional cleanup of duplicates and merging and so on, but they're not really sufficient when you want to change or bulk change like 1,000 records at a time. So we wanted to do something else. And of course, as you all know, the better data we have, the better insights we can pull, make better decisions based on data in Pure. And of course, it also looks better on the portal that we don't have messy data. So let's start by looking at ROR and how we can use that to improve data in Pure. So for those of you who don't know ROR, it's an organization registry which provides a unique identifier for research organizations, government agencies, funders, and some companies as well. So it's like an ORCID just for organizations, basically. So the goal here is to add this ROR ID to as many external organizations in Pure as possible, because we can then use that ID to identify duplicates and merge these. So this is a collection of scripts which basically facilitate that. So the idea is that we export the external organizations from Pure using either a CSV report or the Pure API. We then send these to the ROR API, which then tries to identify each organization to a specific ROR ID. And you can run this in Docker on your own machine, so you can actually have the ROR IP running on your own machine, which I would advise you to do because it's extremely fast and you can process thousands of organizations in minutes. This then creates an output file where you can see the matches. Did the organization from Pure match a specific ROR? How was it matched? Was it exact match, fuzzy matching, etc.? How's the match score? You can then filter this list and write the ROR IDs back to Pure using the Pure API. That's one way to do it. So you can do it sort of in bulk, or you could go into what I would call game mode. So this tool basically does the same. It fetches a random external organization from Pure and matches it to, or at least tries to match it to to a ROR ID in the ROR API, and you can then write back the ROR ID to Pure. And you get points for each match. So you can go from unstructured newbie to final boss of metadata. Of course, the gaming element is just a gimmick, but I think it's interesting, to provide a way for people with no knowledge of Python and so on. They have 5 minutes, they're waiting for the bus, and they can actually improve the quality in Pure while they wait. So it's just another way to approach it. Okay, so with these ROR IDs in Pure, what can we do next? So the idea is that we have the ID on as many external organizations as possible. That will allow us to use this ID to merge the external organizations. And Pure has an endpoint for that. So in this case, we have, I think, 6 different variants of the University of Hong Kong, I believe. And we can then merge these together because the ROR ID tells us that this is the same organization that we need to consolidate. There is a merging logic set up where the target organization is the one with workflow status approved, and then all the other external organizations are merged into that target. There's also some logic built in that if a group has more than one approved organization, it skips that one and locks it, so you don't accidentally merge things that you shouldn't have done. That was a bit about ROR and how we use that to maintain external organizations. Next up is a bit on OpenAlex and how we can use that to improve data quality in Pure. So for those of you who don't know OpenAlex, it's an open scholarly database which gets data from various sources. It has a pretty broad coverage in terms of disciplines, and it uses a wide variety of persistent identifiers like ORCID, ROR, DOIs, and so on. Unlike like in a database, there are some issues with data quality. So I think it's still advisable to just not blindly trust what's in OpenAlex, and you have to sort of have a human in the loops in terms of automating things. But one way we've tried to use it is that we've built this tool which tries to find DOIs for publications which we have in Pure, but which do not have a DOI. Of course, we want to have DOIs on as many research output in Pure as possible, because there are many benefits to having the DOI in Pure. So what this tool does is that it fetches publications from Pure. It fetches the title, subtitle, ISSN, publication year, and it then tries to search in OpenAlex, Scopus, and CrossRef for any potential matches on these specific fields. If a potential match is found, it then does a lookup in DataCite and CrossRef to be able to identify that is this actually a match or is it a false positive. And it gives a score based on how well did the title match, is it the same ISSN, is it the same publication year, and so on. It then calculates a confidence score from 0 to 100% and logs the result in a CSV file. And the file looks something like this. So you have the fields that you extracted from Pure, and then you have the potential matches in the various sources. You can see how many sources did it match, which DOI do we agree is the correct one, how's the confidence score, and then a recommendation. So it gives you, if the confidence score is high, it will recommend you can write the DOI directly back to Pure. If it's a medium match, it suggests that you do some manual Overwatch in order not to write an incorrect DOI back to Pure. We did a test run with this just prior to the conference, where I took around 1,500 records without a DOI. And out of these, around 1,300 had no verified match. So a small amount was actually matched with a DOI, which we could write directly back to Pure. So it's not a very sort of high result rate, if you were to do it manually, but with a script, I mean, it takes a couple of minutes, and then you have 260 records more with a DOI. So I think that's a pretty solid result. So the overall takeaway is that, it works well for high confidence matches. And of course, you'll end up with a few false positives in the case where, you have a title called preface or introduction, and they're a bit hard to filter out in such a process. But I think it's a promising result and a way, to add DOIs to as much content as possible in Pure. The next one here is also on OpenAlex. So this is a script which tries to find publications that actually belong to our institution but are completely absent from Pure. And that's like, we can't have that. We need our publications to be in Pure, right? So what the script does is that we run it on a daily basis. It retrieves publications from our Pure using the Pure API within a certain year range, and it then goes to OpenAlex and extracts publications from our university within the same year range and then compares the two. So the ones that is in OpenAlex, which we do not have in Pure, this indicates that these should actually be in Pure and these might be missing. It then generates an Excel file with some additional information, DOI, title, authors, ORCIDs, on paywall, URL, and other stuff. And you can then use that to import the missing publications in Pure. Another use case we've looked at is to use OpenAlex to identify publications in Pure which has an internal affiliation which should be external. So this is usually something we see happen when we have a researcher join us from a different institution who then decides to import all their publications they did at a previous institution, and they forget to remove the internal organizations when importing. So we might have like 500 publications with internal organizations which should have been external. So this tool can help us identify these cases. So it retrieves publications from the Pure API within a year range and looks at authors with at least one internal affiliation. It then searches for each publication in OpenAlex to confirm that this author is actually affiliated with our university, and it uses ROR IDs to do that. So finally, the scripts record any instances where the author is linked to an internal organization in Pure, but has an external affiliation in OpenAlex, because this indicates that, you have a problem in Pure. This publication is not registered correctly. Identifying them is nice, fixing it is even nicer, and this tool tries to help you with that. It's a Streamlit tool which allows you to upload the lists that you generated using the last script, and then for each publication it allows you to select the correct external affiliation and remove the incorrect internal ones. And you can then do it in bulk, and then instead of having to open each individual publication and correct the mistake, you can have this script do it. So basically, you go from the small picture here in the bottom left to the one to the right, which is what we want to achieve. Another use case for OpenAlex is on grants and publications. This is an area where we want, Pure has the capability of relating publications and other content to awards and projects, but we rely much on researchers themselves to do this, and that's not always the case in practice. So this tool can help a bit with that. The idea is that you can enter a grant ID or a list of grant IDs, and it then searches OpenAlex for these grant IDs and gives you a list of the publications related to this specific or these specific grant IDs. So you have a column with grant IDs and a column of DOIs, and you then know that this ID matches these DOIs. And with that list in hand, you can use this tool, which will allow you to bulk relate the publications with the projects and awards in Pure. So it basically goes through each project and looks for any matches on DOIs that you have in Pure, so you don't have to sort of rely on your researchers doing this relation. You can actually help them do it by using this tool. Of course, this will only cover the cases where the publication has a DOI, OpenAlex has the grant DOI and so on, or the grant ID, but it's a help in terms of automating this sort of relation process between publications and projects, which is one of the strengths in Pure, in my opinion. No presentation without a bit on AI and how to use that as a way to improve metadata. I think there are like 1 million different use cases, but this is just a selected one for this presentation. There's a lot of potential, of course, in using AI to do things in Pure in terms of data quality. But I also think it's a consideration that we should use it where it truly fits. I mean, a lot of these challenges can also be solved faster and with less resources, by just using good old-fashioned logic and code before turning to AI. This tool is also fairly new, and what it basically does is that it tries to help us classify the type of external organization in Pure. So we have a bunch of external organizations in Pure with the type unknown or other, or even a wrong type, like a company, which is classified as a government or something like that. And of course, we want to, correct this, as this will, give us better data in terms of, when we do collaboration analysis and that sort of thing. So the logic with this script here is that it fetches external organization data from Pure. It then tries to detect the type using heuristics or regex. And if that's not possible, it falls back to a local language model, which runs locally. So in this case, it's GPT OSS 20B. And it uses that to try to classify the type based on the sort of rules we've set up at our university. So it has to choose one of the available types in Pure, right? It then outputs this to a CSV file, where you can evaluate the results, and then you can write back the type to Pure. And we created a specific user for that, which leaves behind a note saying that this external organization was changed to this type based on this reasoning and based on either heuristics or a local language model decision. So it's a way, to use AI as a simple way to help you manage this task of classifying external organizations, which I think is quite relevant due to the sheer volume of external organizations in Pure. And, it's just an area where we get like 5,000 new ones each year. So any help we can get in managing this content type, I believe is quite valuable. So finally, a wrap up and a takeaway on this. I believe a lot of external services play a crucial role in terms of improving quality in Pure. I also believe it's sort of, you have to find the right balance between how much can we automate and how much should we sort of have human oversight on. I also think we need some better tools within Pure. I mean, we can build stuff around Pure, but there are some really low-hanging fruits in terms of, I mean, why not have an internal cron job in Pure which looks for ROR IDs for external organizations, as an example? That would be easy to do. Why not auto-relate projects to publications in Pure? I mean, we have the information in Scopus, as an example. Why not flag any, when researchers incorrectly register the content, they import it from Scopus, but Scopus or Pure gives no warning that you're actually registering something which is wrong. Do something, raise a flag in Pure or something. So I think there's also need for better tuning within Pure. And then finally, I would encourage everyone to, if you have any tools, scripts, ideas, and so on, to share them with the Pure community. And I've tried to create this curated list of code and tools for Pure, not only my own, but also others that I found on GitHub. Yeah, I would encourage you to do that. That was it. Thanks for listening.